Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman, and today I got a real treat for you. His name is Hamed Majidifard, and he is the co-founder and chief technology officer at Tiger Eye Engineering. Hamed, say what's up to everybody.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for introducing me, and thank you so much for inviting me for this podcast. Pretty excited to talk about all these challenges, all of this background about these public works. So yeah,
Sure, sure,
let's
sure.
start it.
One thing I like about you is you come from, or you're sitting in Oakland, California. So my wife and I, we used to live in Oakland for a couple of years. So anybody that's from the Oakland area, I just gotta have on the show if you're
Uh,
in the public work. So
awesome.
how long you been in Oakland, and where's your favorite spot to hang out at?
Uh, Absolutely. I moved to Oakland, California from Missouri about a year and a half ago, and I'm living near the Lake Merritt area, so it's kind of
Yeah,
near the downtown. So I love doing hiking, running around the lake. So it's kind
yep,
of a fun place to be.
right,
And yeah, there are a couple of places around here. I go for a restaurant, and
yeah,
also Walnut Creek is close, so that's
yeah.
something that the Persian community usually we get
Mm.
together. There are lots of Persian restaurants, so it's easy drive. So yeah, I really like it.
Sure thing, sure thing. Good stuff. So, Hamed, tell us a little bit about Tiger Eye Engineering. Give us the 30,000 foot view of what you guys do in the public workspace, and then mainly what people can call you for, what problems you solve in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me give you a little bit background about myself. So I got my bachelor back in Iran, and also I went to Sharif University to get my transportation degree in Tehran, Iran, and after that I came to Missouri for getting my PhD in pavement engineering. And during that time, I was working on some asphalt researches, more about running the asphalt test, developing kind of a modern recycle mixtures with increasing the recycling content, but also having a kind of a really good performance mixture. And meanwhile, I got interested into AI and machine learning area with a professor that just joined Mizzou, and we kind of started this company, three of us, to just improving kind of the pavement evaluation condition assessment, because that time I was trying to correlate the laboratory results with the field performance data, and the field performance data kind of coming from the DOT side. But the problem was that when we were trying to correlate these data, I found lots of inconsistency in the reported field data. And after doing some researches, I found that, okay, they have these $1 million ARAN with lasers, cameras, but at the end of the day, they hire their engineers to rate the road. So it's kind of, something, there's a gap research here. So I started developing some models, AI models on top of that to make this the process automated. And that was kind of the starting point of the company. So we started the company about 3.5 years ago with doing lots of researches back in the university. So we started the company, and we were focusing on pavement evaluation at very first. And afterward, when we talked to the public works and the community, we found that there are other services that they are interested to, like they would like some curb and gutter evaluation. For example, they said that, okay, we have some locations in the city that we have like flooding issue because we don't have enough elevation between the curb and the roadway. So we have to kind of evaluate that and kind of flag those areas. So we kind of developed the models in the company to evaluate curb and gutter, categorize it, and score it. And that was another service we add. We added the sidewalk evaluation assessment. We added the asset inventory. And so we are just keep adding, more services in the company. Kind of, we are a kind of an agile company that we provide a customized solution to the client, then kind of providing a kind of a very fixed service with a fixed cost.
Wow. Oh, okay. So you got, it sounds like you have a lot of offerings kind of in the same niche, in that same
Mhm.
department. What's it like? You said you're at university and you started to um, I guess build out a solution for a problem that public works, would say engineers, operators, supervisors around the country have. What's it like solving that problem? Or what's it like collecting data to be able to know that you're solving the right problem instead of like pounding away for 35,000 hours, in your dorm room and then not knowing what the problem is? Like, how'd you do the research to know what problem you're solving?
Great question, Joseph. So, one benefit that I think I had when I because I was affiliated with the university when I was starting the company was like I started the company, we built the company, and I participate in a program called NSF Corp. And for that, it has a kind of different stages. So you do it in a statewide. After that, if you do good, you will be invited to the national one. So we were invited to the national one. 25 teams were invited to do the workshop for 5 weeks in Silicon Valley in 2021. And during that workshop, there were like, mentors, industry mentors, successful industry mentors. They were kind of teaching us how to build a company, how to build a customer segment, what is the business model, what is your product, what is your problem. And during these 5 weeks, we have to interview with 100 potential clients. So we were kind of, forced to talk with them, and they were kind of giving us like $50,000 for traveling and finding these customers. And during that workshop, I learned really a lot about, the statement was like the problem. You should look for a problem. You shouldn't look for a product. So the idea was like focusing on the pain point of the clients, asking them questions without talking about the product. So that's what we did. We started the software with focusing on doing the assessment on state highway roads. And when I was, we thought that, our client are like DOTs. After talking to multiple DOTs people, one of them just said that, hey, Ahmed, if I want to buy this from you, it takes 5 or 10 years. So it's really hard to sell to us. So we have to do a pivot, and we did a pivot, and we focus on smaller clients like cities and counties, and that was the right pivot. And because we did lots of researches, talking to these clients, asking them about the pain points, we kind of come up with the right product for the right problem. So I think that this is really important, path that everyone that wants to build a product has to do. Product is not the solution. You have to focus on the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Being an entrepreneur myself in public works, you kind of scratch your head and go, hey, this problem that everybody says they have, do they really have the problem? And then once I started getting customers and clients, it started to validate what I was doing. And it kind of helps build that, that train, that engine, that locomotive of like, okay, I'm going to keep going forward with this. I mean, I started 3.5 years ago, kind of probably around the same time you did. And we're coming out of COVID, and the normal sales channels weren't there, and it's interesting how good things can happen when you just stay with it, stick with it, and again, focus on helping somebody solve their problem instead of just trying to push a product in their face.
Exactly, exactly. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So did you always think you'd be an entrepreneur, or did you always think you'd be in like the civil engineering, the public workspace, or was it something that like you kept finding your way as you went on?
When I started my PhD and I was into, as a PhD student, usually you are, responsible for writing papers and writing reports. So I really enjoyed that. But afterward, I feel like that, okay, there is one piece, something is missing here. So is a practical thing. So when I published these papers, related to this AI automated payment evaluation, I found that, okay, let's start a software, let's make it to a software and see if that works. So I kind of turn it into a software, and afterward I noticed that, oh, I enjoy this. So I think that I have to start the company. So I talked to my advisor. I said that hey, I want to start the company. Let's do it together. So we, after starting the company and being involved with all these, uh, different problems, I think that that's something that I'm enjoying right now, problem solving. So when I face a problem, I'm looking for a problem to solve all the time. Like talking to a client, talking to someone that has a problem. So that's kind of something that I really enjoy. And I feel like that if I get a kind of a routine job, that will be a boring job for me. So I really enjoy to be an entrepreneur now.
Gotcha, gotcha. Likewise, likewise. So you said AI a couple times, and AI sometimes in government is a four-letter word. They don't want to touch it, they don't want to go near it. A lot of people are kind of hesitant, or I would say slow to adopt it. So what are some of your, I guess, not so rebuttals, but what do you say when those, like, let's say you're pitching to seven people, and there's always one person that says, "Well, how do we know AI is safe and this and that, and the robots are going to take over everything?" How do you put them at ease and say AI is okay and it's actually going to help us work more efficiently?
Exactly. I think that that's a kind of a challenge that I we had when we started the company. Talking to all these clients, you feel that some peoples are really resistant to AI. So when you talk about it, they're really resistant, and that makes sense because there are two things that may happen. One is that there was like a trashy company with AI thing. They approach them and screw them, and they have to they are really angry about it, and they said, okay, this is not working, so don't try to sell me the same thing. So we have to kind of clean it first, say that okay, this is we are different. And I think that something that we really focus on is that we are like a pavement engineers than software engineers. So in the company, we call ourselves that we are well experienced pavement engineers, civil engineers. We know the problem, so we build the software based on the problem. So we are not like a software company that builds something and after that looking for the solution. So because when you talk to them and communicate with the people that has problem, when you talk to them and show them, okay, you know the problem, you are an asphalt engineer, you are a pavement engineer, so there is also a process for the using the AI. Like you use the AI, but you have a QC and QA process to check it. So when you explain that and you explain that, okay, there's a process of annotating all these images, you have to train it, you have to run the prediction, you have to do a QC check, and after that retraining, and showing all this process, you can make a trust, I think, and after that they feel more comfortable with it.
Sure, sure. What has been your, I guess, best practice to get the word out, for all the entrepreneurs or even just salesmen in our industry? What has been Hamed's best way to get the word out, to get eyeballs, to get ears, to listen to what you have to say? Not necessarily to sell it, but just get people to listen to what you have to say about your service.
Yeah, I would say the conferences is the best place to be focused on. During this NSF Corp, we have to go to all these conferences called APWA. So I'm sure you know about it. So and I have to travel every like 2 weeks to talk to some clients. And good thing is that if you can get a presentation accepted, that would be really good. So you can talk about it and people will know about your solution, so they will be part of that. And I think that that's one way to talk about it. And also, if you are, kind of a very active publisher in academia, that could helps you a lot. We are we are Tiger is out for 3.5 years, and we don't have a sales right now. We are like, everyone approaching to us. So we are not going after any clients. So because we are active in conferences, my professor is well-known professor for 40 years. I have some background in pavement. So I think that, if you have the resume in the team, you will have the right product. If you have a good product to prove, I think that you will get the client. And it's just
Interesting.
a matter of being exposed to the community.
Yeah. So the resume of the team, I've never really thought about that. What I guess again, being an entrepreneur, business owner in the space, one of the most valuable, I think, employees that one could have is one that just left a city or a DOT or an agency where they were involved in some of the decision making that you're trying to sell or pitch. Um, what's been I guess your best practice to find those people to bring onto your team, so like you said, you don't have to go out and find customers, they start coming to you now.
Yeah, I think that we are starting to thinking about how we can scale. So to scale, I think that we have to hire sales. We should work on our website. We should talk with these people with a good background in cities and DOTs. So I think that that's a good idea because on the other side, they kind of dealing with different, vendors to hire, to do all these jobs. So I think that having someone from this background could really help for doing the sales because they know what is a good product.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really valuable to scaling.
Sure, sure. You talked about academic papers, which, for a nerd economist like myself, I like to kind of dive into some of the fringe papers that I might see across my timeline from time to time. Where do you tell those to go to be able to find, let's say, civil engineering or street or asphalt papers that are out there, so they can learn, so they can start to, so they can start to put together a better plan for their own agency?
Yeah, I think that, that's really good. Do you mean like where they have to find the papers or?
Yeah, like, do they go on Google Scholar, or is
Yeah.
there like, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. If usually we have a Google Scholar. Myself has it, my professor has it, so they could easily be found in Google Scholar, and the free version is always out because you can publish them in ResearchGate or Archive if they don't want to pay for the journal. But they are accessible, and we have started publishing those papers in 2020 and 21 and 4 or 5 years ago, so everyone can has have access to that. And we are still active in some conferences and symposium. There is a symposium called DSPS, Data Science Symposium, and we have a kind of I'm part of the panel, and we have a kind of a student competition every year that we are kind of releasing some part of our data from university or the company, and different teams from different countries, they try to build better uh, Python on top of that, build a better model on that to kind of reach the maximum accuracy. And after that, we invite three top teams to the conference and we pay for their travels. So I think that we are kind of active to kind of showing the industry there is a way. If you wanna you know keep the solution really active, you have to kind of contribute to it. We are releasing some of our data so people can build on it and develop different models, and it's a kind of public data.
Ah, I like that. Kind of an open source model for people to kind of create their
Yes,
own with it. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Um, when people ask you, like, hey, let's say I do business with Tiger Eye, like, what do we get from it? Is it like a software? Is it a service? What's the relationship like? I guess take us through the already been bought process of what it looks like.
Yeah, that's a great question, Joseph. So we have a kind of a different business model. We work with kind of existing companies, like they have existing relationship, like there are consultants, local consultants that they have existing relationship with the cities. So they come to us and they rent our data collection system, or they just buy it. We train them, they do the data collection, we do the analysis part. So sometimes we team up for RFP. So we take care of the middle part, they take care of the first part. But as a delivery data, I would say that we are like a more consultant company. It's not a software. Uh, some part of that is access to the software. So they have access to the all these data, like I call it like type, extent, and severity of the distresses or defects for pavement. and the PCI values in an Excel file that would be important in ArcGIS. They will have access to shape files. They will have access to the dashboard. So the dashboard has all these images annotated with all the distresses. So they can have access to all this data and do a QC/QA, making sure that the data is accurate. So they review it, we review it, and if we need to rerun the model, we reannotate it, retrain the model, and rerun it again. So I kind of having access to all these softwares, images, and the last piece, which is the important piece, is the CIP plans, capital planning, the strategic plans. So for that one, we have our own software. Also, we are, making our models compatible with the software that is well accepted, like Cartograph, Paver,
Yeah.
Street Saver, all of these. We made it compatible.
Yeah, no, it's a smart move hopping on with the consulting firm or engineering firm that's already into an agency to where you can just be an add-on portion to it to kind of serve all clients the best way.
Yeah,
Give me a
exactly.
give me an anecdotal story of like, a client that you closed that came to you, hey, we're having problems with X, Y, and Z. We think Tiger Eye can help us. And then you say, okay, you roll up your sleeves and you do your job, you do the consulting end of it, you deliver it back to them. Give me kind of an anecdotal story of how you nailed it for somebody.
Absolutely. I think that
And
I
you don't
would
have to
talk.
name names or cities if you don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, I would talk about our first customer. I would say that they came to us. They had a kind of a client that they kind of charged them, maybe I would say 5 times more than what we charged, and they weren't really happy about it. And we said that, okay, we can have the data, we can take a look at it and give you free evaluation. So when we did that, we showed them with the data, because they had all the images, but they had the scores. So the client, had the scores and the images, but the scores and images weren't correlated because there was a manual inspection. So we run our models on top of that. We released it, and we show them, okay, these are the inconsistency in your data. Look at it, and they look at it and they said, oh, okay, that makes sense. And they kind of hired us to rerun that. So we did our evaluation, and afterward, they told us, about the other problem that they have with the curb and gutter. They want like ranking their curb and gutter. So I think that that's something that we did. There are other clients. Always the clients, they're asking about the customized models, like customized PCI. Like if you work with West Coast, they have a Street Saver PCI. East Coast is different. If you work in Canada, they have a completely different thing. So it's really important to produce like a customized evaluation. And talking to some of the clients, they sometimes at very first they say that we want like 100% like the Cadillac version of your software. And we explained that, okay, the Cadillac version comes with routing. Routing, I'm not sure if you want it. And when we do that and we see that, okay, they have some routing, the PCI will drop significantly. Sometimes they have a really good road, brand new road with no crack, but it has routing, but the PCI dropped. So they said that, oh, why this happened? And they say that, okay, please remove routing from it. So it happens, sometimes. And to me, for cities and smaller cities, especially, maybe we should have a customized evaluation. Some of them, we had our model that was kind of confusing the raveling and weathering. It's a kind of a special distress in pavement. And kind of we have to reannotate our data set and retrain it and rerun it on the whole data set. So they were more satisfied afterwards. So I think that you can turn some negative feedback into a positive feedback if you think it like you are investing sometimes to improve your software, but also providing a better product to the client.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. How does Hamet continue to get better and better? I mean, you're the CTO, you're probably looking at code all day and night. What do you do proactively to be able to, I guess, operate more efficiently? What's your personal and professional development regimen like?
I would say you have to be, if you want to be active, you have to read papers and publications related to the same area. So being active in publishing papers or also at least reading those papers is really important. Also, going to conferences is important. I would say, as a CTO or as a co-founder, you should have a great skill set of communication. So I think that I still have to work on it, but I try to improve it a lot. Talking to all these public work directors because everyone can have a different attitude, so you have to be ready for that. It's really important. So yeah, I think that I try to just being exposed to people, talking to them, and trying to learn as much as I can.
Sure, sure. What's one of the biggest misconceptions about Tiger Eye? Because sometimes I'll speak from stage, I'll give a whole presentation, and and then talk about what I do and what problems I solve. I'll get off stage and somebody will ask me something like, "Hey, yeah, I need this from you," and I'm like, "You just missed the whole presentation." Like, what are
Mhm.
some of the things that you wish people would just grasp, or wish that people knew about what you do that they might think otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that something that is just about AI. When you talk about AI, for sure you have some people in room that they're against you. So you have to always be prepared about it. That when you say AI, they say that okay, there are lots of softwares that they do pothole detections right now with AI. If you search for it, there will be more than 100 repository in GitHub easily. And when you talk about automated pavement evaluation, people say that, oh, okay, this is the same software. I saw this 10 years ago, but you have hard time to prove that this is a different thing. So if you want to provide something that is compatible with all the standards like ASTM D64 standard for PCI, it's really hard to make it compatible. It's not easy. So you have to have type extensibilities of 40 different types of distresses to be able to follow that standard. But I kind of, agree with some of those people that they are against that because there were some companies that they're claiming that this is a PCI, but when you asking some questions and you do some researches, you found that okay, this is not a PCI, it's something else. So there is kind of a different, a kind of a mixed favor for that. But yeah, I think that was my experience about it.
Gotcha, gotcha. And earlier you said you kind of moved away from DOTs because of the long sales cycle. I mean, I've experienced municipalities of, say, a population of 20,000 who take 2 years to purchase from you. So who would an ideal customer be for you, or a client be for you? And then also an ideal power partner, somebody again who's out there in the industry. They already have the inroads with the municipality, and they might want to bring you on to be able to serve their customer client better. Who would those two be?
I would say it really depends. When I'm thinking about it, we talk to the cities, very small cities, that they were really interested into this. But we talked to some cities in medium size when they said that no, this is not going to work. It's really depending on the location of the city and yeah, also how much money they have. And sometimes they say that okay, I already know that where are my potholes, but I don't have the money to pay you to evaluate where are those. So it's kind of something that there is there is some room for educations that sometimes you have to prove that they have to invest on some stuff that they can't see, like the worst case scenario. Fixing the worst case scenario is not always the best. So educating them about the pavement management concept is kind of something important that the pavement community has to do. And I would say that, we had a really good chance when we talked with these existing companies. Like we have some partners, so they have an existing relationship. And because they have a kind of they built the trust, it's all about us and the other company to build the trust and kind of giving them access to the software. So I think that this way works better for us for now, at least.
Okay. Okay. What's like your like? Let's say you got a opportunity to advertise during the Super Bowl, right? You get that 30 seconds to advertise for the Super Bowl, and not only your clients are watching, but the rest of pretty much society is watching. What ask or what kind of message would you want to get across to just society in general, and then also the little subset, the little corner of of municipalities who might need your product or service?
Okay. Uh, I would say that maybe I think I mentioned that invest on things that you cannot see, because it could be it could be late if you stay and you want to fix it. Road deterioration is an exponential curve. So if you don't invest on it, you have to invest a lot in future. So I think that it is really important to do the investment very early to improve the condition of the roads. Better roads will be probably higher, valuation of the the houses, the communities. So I think that it's really important for the house communities if they want to have a higher valuation in their houses, they could have a higher, better roads.
Yeah, yeah. Explain that. You said road deterioration is exponential. Explain why it's exponential and not just linear.
That's a great question. So because the deterioration of the roads is like you have to look at the starting point. When you have moisture in a potholes, it's not in a crack. It will turn it into a pothole, and the pothole will turn it to a bigger pothole, and you will have a failure in the road. And when you want to fix it at very earlier stages, it's maybe all about doing a fog seal or doing a chip seal on top. Afterward, you will have an overlay like point 15 overlay on top of the pavement, and the next part will be reconstruction probably. And the reconstruction costs much more than doing a fog seal. So it's really important to do the preventive maintenance at the right time. Other than that, you have to spend lots of money to fixing your roads.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. I just wanted you to
Yeah,
kind of park on
yeah.
that for a little bit. All right. I always like to leave a space for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey. Then I want you to also give a word of inspiration and motivation to our fellow asphalt warriors across the nation.
That's great. Yeah, I would thank my supervisor, Dr. Bill Butler, and my co-advisor, Yao Adugyanfi. They are my partner in Tiger Eye Engineering. So I think, speaking of a good advisor, I think it's really important that they kind of give the freedom to the students to think independently. So at very first, when I was into this area, I was completely starting from scratch. So, and also I had another project to do, but he kind of gave me the freedom to do all these different two projects. He told me, hey, Hamid, if you want to work on this, you have to make sure that you're working on your project. And I ended up to work on the both projects and kind of getting the job done. So I think that this is really important to motivate the students, kind of encourage them to go and look for something that they really enjoy. I think that this is really important, and also being agile about new projects, thinking out of box is important. So I think that I would say these words.
Okay. Okay. All right. Last question for you. Let's say I'm coming to town. I'm coming to Oakland, California, and I text you ahead of time. I say, Hamed, where can I go to get the best burger in Oakland? Where are you going to send me?
Awesome. So I would go to Broderick Burger in Walnut
Projects.
Creek.
Yeah.
It's like 20 minutes, 15 minutes from here, but that's what I really like.
All right. Good old Walnut Creek. We used to live in Lafayette too, so we know about Broderick's.
Oh, okay, nice.
Good
That's my
stuff, Hamed.
favorite bagel. Yeah.
They do a good job. All right.
Uh,
Thank you for hopping on the show today. Thanks for sharing your wealth of information and knowledge with us. How can people find more about yourself and also more about Tiger Eye?
awesome. They can check our website, which is www.tigereye-eng.com. And also, we have a LinkedIn page that they can check it out. They can find my Google Scholar, my LinkedIn, so to see more details, publications. And yeah, I think that's all the information they need to check for Tiger Eye.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Once again, thanks for hopping on the show. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you everybody for tuning in.